little intro is there. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Let's Talk CFL podcast episode number 595. This is our first on our new format using Microsoft Teams. And what is that thing? Pod stream? No, pod. I don't know. We'll talk about what Tyler's doing later. Okay. So we have been away from podcasting since right after the Grey Cup in December. And basically because Blog Talk Radio shit the bed, and they actually are no longer a company. So we've tried to find a different format in which we could all be together, and we haven't been able to do anything better than, or Microsoft Teams. Basically, it's very similar to a Zoom call. And that's what we're doing right now. As you can see, Will McDonald with his Calgary Stampeders logo behind him, Charles Cliff with his BC Lions logo behind him, and myself, the host, Christopher Jones, with Let's Talk CFL banner at the ready. Okay, William, welcome to the show, buddy. How are you doing?
I am just fabulous. This is a new format for us. It's going to take us a while to get used to, but hey, we'll figure it out.
And we are going to fuck things up.
Yeah, we are. Yesterday, you can't say fuck, okay? And yesterday,
why?
Well, I don't know. Why not? Well,
and yesterday, stop now.
Yesterday was CFL free agent day, and it was quite a wonderful day. And lots of
uneventful.
It was pretty uneventful because all the big names were gone anyways.
Yeah.
So, but yeah.
Most of the stuff we already knew.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, it very anticlimactic. I do not like the new format where they have this 2-week tamper window. If they allowed them to have a tamper window, I agree with. It's perfectly fine. I don't have a problem with it. What I do have a problem with is making any of the results public.
Yeah.
If you come to terms with a player, then you're not allowed to sign them until the free agency day. You're not allowed to discuss it. You're not allowed to post it to the media. You can't talk to friends and family. You can't talk to Farhan. You can't talk to anybody about it. And then come free agency, then all of a sudden the cards all fall into place. And that's what used to make it exciting. Because
they can try to hide all they want, but it's going to get leaked no matter what. Someone's going to talk. People can't keep their mouth shut.
Yeah.
Well, bottom line is free agency day isn't free agency day anymore. It was the week before.
No, it's more like free agency week because they were doing signings all week.
Absolutely. So it's kind of silly, but that was that not something that our fearless commissioner brought in, Randy Ambrosi? Another check in Randy Ambrosi's list.
Another fuck up.
Yeah, I didn't say that, but you did.
I did, and I can, and I will.
And I want to do just a real quick shout out to that 7-hour podcast I was listening to, video podcast yesterday. I was listening on YouTube. How you guys think the Saskatchewan Roughriders can be a contender with Trevor Harris and who's their backup this year?
Cody Fajardo. Or Jake Mayer.
No, Jake Mayer.
Jake Mayer.
Jake Mayer, you guys are in trouble before the season has even started. Just putting it out there.
No, it's Edmonton that has Trey Ford and Cody Fajardo.
Right.
Like neither one of them are starters. Well, we've just talked about 4 quarterbacks, and there's really only one starter, and he's geriatric mode.
Yeah, absolutely.
38-year-old Trevor Harris. We should wager right now what week he gets injured.
Who's going to get injured for at least 4 to 6 weeks this year.
Yeah, guaranteed.
If not more.
A third of the season.
He didn't get injured last year, so...
Yes, he did.
To make up, or he did. That's right, didn't he?
Yeah,
yes, he did.
That's why we knew all about Shea Patterson.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. I think it was only 4 games or something that he missed, but which was a very short period of time for him. And yeah, it's just, I don't know. Okay. Moving on. Let's talk about the agenda here. I'm going to go sideways a little bit because I got to be looking at my iPad here. So we're going to deal with free agency in a bit. What just happened here, Charles? Okay. It wasn't you. It was me. CFL salary cap. The cap jumps over 400,000 due to increased league revenues. Okay, we've talked about this off air. In fact, we've been talking about this for quite some time. How fucking stupid is this? Okay, now the salary cap increases every year about $50,000. That's about the average, right? Some years it's 55. We get a CBA, it might jump like 60 or 70, but usually it's around $50,000 that it goes up every year. This year, Randy Ambrosie, halfway through free agency, after people had already agreed to contracts, goes and tells everybody, the league, all the teams, that they now have an extra $400,000 that they can spend. Stupid timing. Like, why wouldn't you do this a month earlier, right? Or do it after free agency? But to do it in the middle of it and fuck up all these people that have already started their contracts, because a couple of them have defaulted on them or waived on them and anything else. But that's beside the point. How does he figure that the league is so stable and doing so well that they can increase a salary cap by almost 10%? When you have Edmonton losing money, Calgary losing money, Ottawa losing money, Toronto losing money, Hamilton maybe breaking even, Riders and Bombers are making money, Montreal is losing money, and BC is losing money by choice. Where do you see the stability and the increased league revenue to justify a 10% increase to the salary cap? Charles, you got any answer to this?
I don't know. I look around at crowds in Edmonton. I look at crowds in Toronto. I look at crowds in many cities, Calgary. I don't get this. I mean, yeah, maybe 50,000, but the amount that it went up, I don't see where they're getting the revenue to justify it. And the timing, like you said, in the middle of free agency, when teams have already signed players, there may have been teams that wanted to sign these other players and say, well, we don't have enough money, so we can't sign them. So they agree to terms with another team, and then all of a sudden, well, you're going to have more money. Well, thanks for telling us now, because it's too late. This was horribly mishandled. Why am I not surprised? This is Randy Ambrosie. He's going out with a bang. By the way, when are we getting a new commissioner? He announced months ago that he was going to resign.
Why can't we have an interim commissioner?
Someone who doesn't raise the salary.
Make him go away.
Yeah, it's just, I've said it before. Everything he touches turns to stone. This is just another example. So
turns to shit.
Yeah, don't let the door hit you on the way out, Mr. Commissioner.
Deep sigh. Okay, William,
ridiculous.
What's your thoughts on this ridiculous antics by Mr. Ambrosie?
I don't know why they added something to the salary cap, because no CFL team can afford it right now, or some can, some can't. And even if you can, I think it gives other teams a unfair advantage because they have money, but it still wasn't that big. So I just think it's silly in general, because they're not putting seats in the stands anyways. So why are they increasing the salary cap?
And by that much, I want to know how they came up with that number.
Yeah, well, that would
hang on. Let's go step back for a second. I don't have a problem with them increasing the salary cap by any amount. Okay, I actually think that we should increase it by a lot more, but you can't increase it using the excuse of the league is so much more prosperous. Okay?
Yeah.
If you can say that we need to take the league to a new step, a new dimension, we need to bring in marquee players, we need to be able to do certain things, and we need more money in which to do this to promote the league so that we can get, more revenue coming into these teams that are depressed.
Yep.
I'm all over that. I'm okay with that.
Fine.
I can agree with it. Is it going to be a challenge for the teams that are losing money? Well, they've just lost another $400,000, right?
Then
Because
again, there's the
what?
old saying, you got to spend money to make money, but whatever.
Well, exactly. So I don't have a problem with them doing it. I have a problem with the way that they did it and the excuse for which they did it. You don't do it in the middle of fucking free agency. That was just stupid. But it's Randy Ambrosie, and we don't expect anything less from him. I mean, CFL 2.0, global players, the Chad Kelly affair. It just goes on and on. Sean Lemon, on and on and on. Did you put Sean Lemon in here anywhere? No, you didn't. Let's talk about him for a bit, because I don't think there's anything else we can say about the salary cap. It's just absolutely gross and disgusting. Now,
Yes.
Sean Lemon was suspended at the beginning of last season, so like a year ago, okay? And he was suspended indefinitely for gambling on the CFL. And we're not going to go into the semantics of why this is absolutely stupid and ridiculous, but just last week, the commissioner announced that Sean Lemon, should his indefinite suspension ever to be lifted, he has an additional 2-game suspension for substance abuse. Where and how did he fail this test? Why did it take a year for them to come public with this? Like, how do you do this? Is this like a guy on death row that's ready to be executed? And you say, oh, by the way, we're going to add a break-in and entry charge to your... like, is this not the stupidest fucking thing you've heard?
It's weird.
I mean,
you're suspended for life, but if you come back and then you're suspended 2 more games.
Yeah. And why a year later? Are your lab results that bad?
Come up out of the blue?
I don't know. I cannot justify this in any way, shape, or form. Yes, he came back from his suspension because he appealed it and lost the appeal, but he was allowed to play in the meantime. So what did he play? The first 3 games or 4 games with the Alouettes last year?
Something like that, yeah.
And during those 3 or 4 games, he got caught. And what was it? It was a cold medicine, or it wasn't even a bad drug.
Yeah, it was something weird.
It was something really stupid that shouldn't be banned, and which it is for some reason, and that's okay that it is. So you have to follow the guidelines, regardless of whether it is. And I mean, who was it? One of the BC Lions that was suspended recently, or that not that long ago, because he was taking meds for his ADHD.
Yeah, I don't remember who that. I remember talking about that, but I don't remember who that is.
He even asked for permission, and the permission was delayed, and he was using the drugs and got caught. And it's like, give your head a break. This guy, I mean, we're all about people's mental health, and then you won't let the person deal with it. It makes no sense to me. 0 sense to me.
No,
I think it was one of the defensive backs. I don't remember who.
No idea.
So, William, what do you think of this Sean Lemon being suspended for juicing?
I think Sean Lemon, they just don't want Sean Lemon in the CFL anymore.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that's a lot to do with it.
I mean, to suspend him for $70 for gambling against his own team and winning, how does that make any sense?
Hey, hang on. He didn't bet against his team. He bet for his
I
team.
know. That's what I
He
said.
lost the bet,
Oh, did he lose the bet? I
and
thought
it
he
was
won
a
the bet.
$70 bet for 2 games. So it was
Right.
really only $35.
Right. And then he gets a 2-game suspension for juicing. Yeah,
And it
he's
wasn't
never
juicing, it was like taking an antihistamine or something.
he's
Yeah.
getting too old to come back. Although he said he would have liked to have played this year. I don't know if Randy Ambrosie will give him that chance. So
Randy Ambrosie needs to go away, and we need a new commissioner with some
right,
intelligence.
but I mean, out of everything that's gone on, how come we haven't heard anything about that?
I don't know.
That's true.
Is there any names out there?
No. The only thing that I keep seeing is Sean Millington. Oh, Charles died. You can't do that, Charles. We're like recording for the podcast.
I didn't do anything.
Didn't you? Oh, okay. Your
No.
picture went away, and you CC
Well,
came up on
Everyone
the
did on
screen.
my screen.
Oh, okay.
Everyone
What?
disappeared on my screen.
They've always
Okay.
talked about Dwayne Ford should be the commissioner. There you
Oh,
go,
they
Dwayne
keep
Ford.
bringing that up.
Dwayne
No,
Ford.
I mean,
Dwayne Ford.
Honestly,
Doug
could he
Flutie.
be any
Doug
worse?
Flutie. Let's.
I'd rather have Chris Jones
got
come back
it.
to the CFL and be
I
commissioner.
got it. I got the perfect commissioner. Ready?
Who?
Marcus Crandall.
Marcus Crandall. Why did I not see that one coming?
I knew exactly where he was going with that.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Next chunk of this agenda we're going to deal with is Ryan Dinwiddie is happy coaching in the CFL, but covets the NFL life-changing money. Duh, Ralph. Like,
Well, no kidding.
who doesn't covet NFL life-changing money? I do.
Okay,
I think even a fan in the NFL would be better than.
Here's a question for me. Here's a question for you. What kind of money do you think Ryan Dinwiddie makes right now?
Couple 100,000.
No, I bet you he's making about 4 or 5.
Yeah,
Okay.
You're probably right. I'm probably low.
For a lot of people, that's life-changing money, and they've never made close to that much money in their lifetime. So I understand what he's talking about, but if you want to go to the NFL, fuck off. Go to the NFL. See ya. Bye. Yeah. Have a nice life.
I'm not convinced there's a big market for Ryan Dinwiddie in the NFL.
I'm not either. Especially
Hey,
he had.
There's been better CFL coaches than Ryan did when he never got a shot in the NFL.
Correct.
Okay, so in 2022, the Argos had a terrible season. And the three of us on this podcast were talking about him being fired.
Right.
Because Argos absolutely sucked all season. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
And the thing about the Eastern Division is you can suck all season, make the playoffs, and turn into Cinderella.
Yes, you can.
Okay. And
we've seen it happen.
They went off and they upset the league-leading Montreal Alouettes in the finals, Eastern Final, and went on into the Grey Cup and defeated Winnipeg Blue Bombers, who were the favorite. And I think they took their opponent a little bit too lightly, thought they were overconfident, and Toronto smoked their ass and won the Grey Cup. And there's no way that Ryan Dinwiddie is going to get fired after he wins the Grey Cup. Okay, so he kind of cemented his little legacy there for a little while anyhow, unless he shit the bed the next season. The next season, they had a hell of a season, but they absolutely imploded in the playoffs.
Yes, they did.
And the Montreal Alouettes beat them in the finals. And Toronto was favored phenomenally. And Montreal, Cody Fajardo, no less, came in and beat up Chad Kelly. And Chad Kelly went whining off the field and faked a concussion. Okay?
Right.
So And actually didn't even fake the concussion. He didn't even have the concussion until later. And so then the next year, the Argos had an okay season. It wasn't outstanding or awesome. And they ran the table again and they beat Winnipeg in the Grey Cup again last year. So Ryan Dinwiddie is 2 out of 3 years he's won the Grey Cup.
Yep. He's
But
a
he's not
dynasty
an
coach.
amazing coach.
He's a dynasty coach.
He's not an amazing coach. He has not coached an amazing team. Like Mike O'Shea, I'm going to give him status. I mean, he took a team that was pathetic and slowly built them up to be a contender, got them to be a contender, and kept them there for 5 seasons.
Yep.
Okay.
You're right.
That's what coaches do. Okay. They don't have mediocre seasons and then go on and win, which is cool. I mean, I'd love the Lions to have a mediocre season and then win. But a good coach is dominant all the way through. He has their team ready to play, and they play and play hard.
Yep.
That's not the Toronto Argonauts. Let's see what they do this year. Because Ryan Dinwiddie anybody talking about Ryan Dinwiddie going to the NFL is stupid. It's a dumb conversation, and he's not NFL material in any way, shape, or form. I don't know who would even contemplate him.
Well, and if you think about the guys that have gone from the CFL to the NFL,
Coaches?
Yes. And you can count those on one hand, I think.
Not a good track record.
And most of them never make it because they end up going to a team that's got a horrible record. Mm-hmm. And they don't keep them around for longer than a year. Look at how long Mark Trestman lasted in Chicago.
With the Bears.
Right? So
it was a year and a half, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't know how long it was. It was pretty short.
Yeah, I mean, Chris Jones went down there. Mark Milanovich or Scott Milanovich went down there. We've had a lot of coaches that have gone down there in the last little while, and they don't go down there and get a respectable position. They go down there and they're defensive consultant or they're, chief water boy or something like this. They're not even getting a real coaching position. They're not running back coach.
I guess the biggest success story would be Tom Clements, and he never coached in the CFL. So,
no. So anyhow, talk of Ryan Dinwiddie going down to the NFL is a joke. I mean, By the way, where is Mark Trestman now? Is he coaching college ball?
I don't know where he is.
I looked a little while ago, and I can't remember where he's at. But it's college, I know for sure.
Okay. Speaking of coaches, the Saskatchewan Roughriders, in a bizarre turn of events, because this one blindsided me. I had never saw this one coming. Hire, and 3 Down article says former Bomber star. He was a former BC star. Yeah. Andrew Harris as a running back coach.
Yes, they did.
Yeah. Now, just to let you know, before you go any further, just to let you know, Mark Trestman is currently the senior offensive assistant for the Los Angeles Chargers.
There you go. I knew that's where he was.
Yeah. So he's still in the NFL. Good for him.
Yes, he is.
And making a living. Okay, yes. So Saskatchewan Roughriders have hired Andrew Harris, former BC Lions, Winnipeg Blue Bombers, standout running back, and who retired, went and bought the Vancouver Island Raiders, if I'm correct?
Yep,
that's right. Correct.
And he was working as a coach there, and now he's a coach in Saskatchewan for the Roughriders, the running back coach. Now, the turn of events here, which was funny, was all the Saskatchewan Roughrider fans who were running around the internet looking for all their former posts about Andrew Harris juicing in Winnipeg had to remove them because, you know, they now have this guy on their staff, and it would look poor if you're calling him all sorts of bad things. So yeah, I don't know.
You don't think
Is there
Rider
any-
fans cared that much?
What's that?
Rider fans didn't care that much.
No. But
And they
anyhow,
say one of the reasons they say they hired him was because he had such a good relationship with
Brady Oliveira.
the long-haired freak in Saskatchewan, the running back. What's his name? The white guy.
Oh, shit.
former Toronto Argonaut OJ
Yeah.
Olette.
OJ Olette, because they were
AJ.
best
AJ
buddies
Olette.
in Toronto,
AJ
apparently.
Olette.
They're best buddies in Toronto, apparently, and that's one of the reasons they hired him. So,
Okay. Well, let's see if he has something to offer. I do not necessarily believe that every standout player has the ability to coach.
how are you going to tell he's got something to offer? He's the running backs coach. Come on.
Yeah.
And Brady Oliveira is one of the yeah.
Brady Oliveira's in Winnipeg.
Sorry.
He's
I'm
got
thinking
he's
he went
not
to
part of
Winnipeg,
this
he went to
conversation. It's
Saskatchewan.
AJ Olette.
AJ Olette's a good running back, so
He is. Okay. I love this. CFL won't hold neutral site touchdown series games in 2025, which last year we had the first touchdown Pacific. And the CFL is not doing that this year at all, except the Lions are having a game in Victoria. So it's a neutral. How?
preseason. That's their preseason home game.
Is it their preseason? No, it's not.
Yes, it is. It's in May long weekend. It's preseason home game.
Oh, I thought it was the first home game of the season.
No.
There. No? Okay. My bad. Because everybody was bitching about not being able to go to the game. So nobody bitches about not being able to go to a preseason game.
Yep.
Okay.
So
if it's
now I'm thinking, I'm getting back to this commissioner thing. I think the reason they haven't mentioned anything about a commissioner is they're looking hard for a guy who's willing to, push that agenda of a team in Halifax. Okay. Maybe that's
nobody's
the
that
reason
stupid.
they're holding off. Maybe that's it. I'm just thinking out loud. We'll see. What a crock of shit. Anyways, whatever.
Yeah. I don't know. But there's no touchdown series this year in a neutral site like Halifax or Victoria or anywhere else, which I personally think that it would be in the best interest of the CFL. Mind you, we probably have to get a commissioner with balls to have every team, we have 9 teams, every team has one neutral game site a year. So instead of having 9 home games, you get 8 home games. And then one team isn't always losing out. Like usually it's Toronto Argonauts that lose out on their touchdown Atlantic game. Because it's usually the Argos home game, which doesn't really matter because there really isn't any Argo fans. But
have those 8 Toronto fans complained or not?
Yeah, a couple of them have. Yeah.
Okay.
But
I understand.
I think that it would be in the best interest of the league to have the Saskatchewan Roughriders play in Saskatoon or in North Dakota or Winnipeg to play in Thunder Bay, or you know what I mean? Just have Hamilton plays in Guelph. Vancouver, BC Lions can play in Victoria or Kelowna or Kamloops or Prince George. I don't care.
Yeah.
I think every team should be able to be promoting the league outside of their normal catch basin.
Not a bad idea.
You know what? If worse goes to worse because they don't draw anything anyways, why not just play all the preseason games in neutral sites? What does it matter? That makes sense to me.
It does, but they're not real games. I mean, I wouldn't be
No.
excited if I'm in Winnipeg, if I'm in Victoria, and I got to pay money to go to a game. I don't want to see a preseason game.
No, me either.
I'm not
Fair
going to
enough.
give you $5 for it. When we had season tickets, we used to get those games for free, and we would go to them, and still
Well,
there would be no
no.
crowd.
And with the Stampeders now, preseason games, if you have 4 season tickets, for example, they'll give you another 4 tickets free to get
Yeah.
people in the seats for the preseason
Yeah.
games. So,
Because
But
preseason
the
doesn't
game,
draw in any sport.
no. So
No.
I don't think that the preseason games in neutral sites really would make that big a difference, Charles, in the promotion of the
You may be
league,
right. It probably
right?
regular season games are probably better. You're probably right.
And you know what? BC Lions, go have a game in Seattle.
Yeah. They actually used to do that. They played neutral site games in the States back in the 60s.
Yeah.
I was reading about that the other day.
I don't know why we're not doing it. But I'm not the commissioner, and they haven't actually reached out to me about the new position, so I don't expect that to be happening. How much do you think Randy Ambrosi makes?
Too much.
Well, of course it is. Let's
can't
go
you
here.
Google it?
I am CFL commissioner salary $750,000 plus incentives.
As I said,
go.
too much.
His annual earnings are $1 million. 10% of that is too much for him. Wow.
Jesus.
Oh, and he took a 20% pay cut during COVID because the teams weren't playing.
Yeah.
He took $200,000 off. He only took 800,000. Sounds like Justin Trudeau.
Did the players
Okay.
get paid at all during COVID? No, I
No,
don't
they
think
did not. They
Oh,
did
but
not.
he still did, so that's
Oh,
good
yeah.
for him. A big
But so did
20%.
all the
he did.
coaches, because
Yeah, that's
if you
true.
remember, Scott Milanovich took a paycheck for an entire year from Edmonton and never played a game of
Never
football with them.
coached. Yeah, never coached
Never
a single
coached a
game
team.
for them.
A single game. Nope. I don't blame him. It's not his fault the season was canceled and he had a contract and they did it. So, and then he was offered a great
He's
job down in the
Edmonton.
NFL
Yeah,
and bye-bye.
he's
And he's
Edmonton's
still
only
and he's
undefeated
still
coach.
a coach in the CFL. So,
Yep.
And he's come back to the CFL. He didn't come back to Toronto. He did win a Grey Cup with Toronto. Okay, so
He did.
one more thing here. We got the BC Lions agreed a restructured contract with Canadian quarterback Nathan Rourke. And it says still remains the highest paid player in the CFL. He is not the highest paid player in the CFL. That is a misnomer by Three Down Nation. Okay. He is making $446,000 this season, upcoming season, towards the cap. That is the BC Lions cap hit for his salary. And it places him in 5th place overall in the CFL. Trevor Harris is higher than him. There's only a couple that are less than him. Bo Levi Mitchell's a little lower. And so is, of course, Drew Brown, Trey Ford. Trevor Harris is higher. Bo Levi Mitchell's higher. Chad Kelly's higher. Zach Caleros is higher. You guys there?
yep.
Charles, you look frozen.
Yes, he does.
I think he's just disappeared from the face of the planet. Oh, he's gone.
Oh, he's gone.
Hopefully he can come back with a link and get back into the picture. I wonder what it
There's
actually
things that
looks like
happen.
to the people watching the podcast. Is Will all of a sudden is on this big picture? Because I know I'm the big picture on Will's thing, so I don't know how it.
Yeah,
Oh, there.
you go.
Admit Charles.
Charles.
Charles, you're coming back.
Yeah, sorry. I don't know what my internet just like disconnected for like 20 seconds and knocked me offline.
Yeah, we were talking and you were frozen. So
Yeah.
You had your orange pop up to your mouth. You're like peeling this thing back, and that's where it froze.
Yep.
Okay. So Canadian quarterback Nathan Rourke has restructured his contract with the BC Lions and is now the 5th highest paid quarterback in the CFL. Now, he still is making $200,000 worth of marketing money, which puts him higher than all the cap hits of all the other quarterbacks. But those guys are also making marketing money that has not been made public. They all have housing allowances. They all have cars from dealerships. They all have all sorts of different things. But that isn't included in this structure here because the BC Lions actually came public and said that he's making 200 grand in marketing money, where we all know that every other quarterback is also making a substantial amount of money in marketing money. The only amount of salary that counts at all for this discussion should be what is against the salary cap hit. Do you agree? Am I wrong? What do you think? I want to hear from William because Charles is going to agree with me because he's a Lions fan. William.
No, I think you're splitting hairs here. Okay. And I understand it's the only money that goes towards the salary cap, and he makes less money as far as the salary cap goes. But you know what? I think they should include all the money he makes, and he'd be the highest paid player in the CFL. Because last year, when he signed his contract, they were claiming he was making $750,000 a season.
756,000 with 200 in marketing, so it was 556,000 was his salary.
Right.
It was still lower than the 600,000 that Zach Caleros was making, and 625,000 that Chad Kelly was making.
Right, and so it should be.
What should be?
It should be that way.
Nathan Rourke make more money?
Less money.
Well, he was making 556,000, but he was making marketing money.
There you go. He's making less money. That's the way it should be because he hasn't been to 5 Grey Cups. He hasn't won any Grey Cups. There you go.
I don't disagree with you.
I never disagree either. No,
but I just think if you know what, tell me what you're paying him total. Don't say he's only making this much money to go towards the salary cap. And you know what? For that matter, I think you also have to. I mean, all of them make extra money on the side. All of them.
Right. All of them do. So then it all has to come out on the table.
Absolutely.
Okay.
How come this is the only league in professional sports where we don't know their salaries?
I don't know.
We should.
Is it because
we do on all the quarterbacks, but we don't on most of the players?
Is it because people don't want to know how pathetic we are and how little we pay them?
Oh.
Just say it.
Pretty much. I mean, $60,000 is the league minimum, isn't it? 60, 64. It was 55, but I think the last CBA bounced it up.
Yeah,
you realize
67, I think.
That Mahomes' salary for one season covers the entire CFL salary cap. Okay.
Yep.
Like, wow.
Oh no, he makes more than that, doesn't he?
No, he's 55 mil. He's 55 mil a season.
Okay.
What's his name? Okay. What's his name? I think is higher now. One of those other guys. He makes $62 million or something like that. So.
And the CFL salary cap is $6 million per team on 9 teams is $54
million.
$4 million. And Patrick Mahomes himself, just the one player, makes more than the entire CFL.
Yep.
You know, if he wanted to, he could buy the CFL and he could play quarterback for every team if he scheduled it right.
Yep.
You can't
Just
do that.
saying.
You can't play against yourself.
Well, okay, there's kind of like, it'll kind of be like the Harlem Globetrotters, where you have a scrub team playing against you.
I
That'll
saw
be
them
exciting.
recently.
Oh, did you?
Yep.
I haven't seen them for years.
No. They actually they went to the high schools way back when, and they used to call themselves the Harlem Clowns.
Mm-hmm.
That was before they became the Globetrotters. Curly Neal and Meadowlark Lemon. You remember those guys?
Yep.
I remember Curly Neal.
Charles doesn't. Charles.
Oh, I do.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, so let's finish that. We've done Nathan Rourke. We've done the neutral sites. We haven't done the CFL unveils the 2025 schedule, highlighted by fewer short weeks. I guess the league had to listen to McLeod Bethel Thompson and deal with it, even though they fined him 3 times for it. It obviously was important enough that they put it out in their schedule.
Yeah.
But God forbid you publicly criticize them. Charles is gone again.
That's on him.
Mike is muted. His pitcher's gone.
Yeah, he turned his camera off.
He's having technical difficulties. Okay, so I don't think there's much to discuss there with this fewer short weeks and anything else.
You know what? I went through Calgary's schedule, and I went through, I do believe, Edmonton's schedule. And other than Edmonton has 2 Sunday games and Calgary has none, yeah, you know what? Once again, I'm going to go through the rest of them because there's some times where, like, I think there's a period in Calgary this year where they play 3 playoff teams in a row from last year.
Well, fuck, there's 6 playoff teams out of 9.
Well, no, I realize that, but I'm talking really good teams. Like, I think they play BC, Saskatchewan, Winnipeg, and then Ottawa, then Winnipeg, Saskatchewan, and BC, or some crazy thing like that. It's ridiculous.
I don't see a problem with that. I really don't. I mean,
well, I'm not going
to comment. You can't avoid playoff teams because you wouldn't have anybody to play.
I'm not going to comment on it until I get to go through everybody's schedule. So, once again, I don't think we play BC till near the end of the year. Okay, really? Which, yeah.
I honestly,
other than the
I can
exhibition
honestly
game.
say I haven't looked at the schedule.
No, I haven't looked that hard. I started looking at it the other day, but then I was feeling bad because I thought I should be doing work at work rather than looking at the CFL schedule. So.
Why?
Because I'm a really honest guy, Christopher.
Sorry to hear
I've looked at it, but I haven't looked that in depth.
The very first game of the CFL is BC and Calgary.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's on my birthday too.
Oh, hang on. Are you shitting me here? BC plays Winnipeg back to back, week 2 and 3.
That was weird, and then I don't think we play them again the rest of the year.
That's right.
That's morbid.
Yeah, it's stupid. I have no idea who puts these schedules together.
Yeah, so week 3, we're done with the Bombers for the entire season unless we play them in the playoffs. Now, that's completely stupid.
And they're doing something crazy in Calgary that they have not done since I've lived here. And that is put a home Stampeder game during the Calgary Stampede.
Really?
I don't.
Really?
Do you think that's a bad thing?
Yes.
Why?
Nobody's going to show up.
Are you sure?
Yes. Positive.
Don't
Yeah,
you think that more
well-
people would show up?
No. Why would you think that way?
Because everybody's in town and go, hey, let's go to a football game.
And there's more
No.
people, extra
no,
people
no,
in town.
no. You don't realize. Do you realize how big the Calgary Stampede is?
Yes, I've been to it.
Nothing happens in this city other than the Stampede.
Well, you make the Stampeders
And
get
there
the
must
name.
be
It says
and there
Stampeders.
must be a
Has to do with the
reason.
Stampede. Make
There
it
must
part
be
of
a
the event.
reason. There must be a reason why they've never done it.
If the Stampeders are smart, they would give free, make an arrangement that you have tickets to that game, you get free admission to the Stampede after.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Okay.
I don't know. The Canucks used to do the promotion with the P&E when they
So
were
the
at
Lions.
Pacific Coliseum,
Yep.
and it was a good thing.
Lions still
Mhm.
do that.
Yeah, I don't understand why this would be a bad thing. So Will just went away. Where'd he go?
Close my cover.
Did you hit the ejection button and you
No,
got
it's
lost?
it's
It looked like
cool.
you popped up.
It's cool when I've had enough of you. I just go like this.
I'm sorry, that was fun. Oh, now we've lost Will completely. Oh God, you guys. Okay, BC, Will, your mic is muted. Okay, so
Yeah, you're on mute.
BC plays Calgary in week 16.
Yeah.
They play them again in week 18.
Yeah.
So we're done with the Bombers after like week 3, but then we don't see Calgary till week 16.
Yeah.
Yes, that's correct.
There's no rhyme or reason to this at all.
Nope.
Thank you,
Mind
Randy
you-
Ambrosi. Oh,
Mind you, it does make up. It would make a good thing if, for example, okay, in Will's fantasy world, BC and Calgary are in second and third place, and then they play each other week 16, week 18, and then they got to play them in the first playoff game. It would make for a pretty heated rivalry.
of course it
I'll
would.
give them that, right?
Yep.
100%. But if BC and Winnipeg are fighting over first place and we haven't played them since week 3,
I know.
there's no head to head at the end of the season. I think you should go head to head with every Western team at the end of the season. You know, the last 5
It
weeks
definitely makes
or
sense.
4 weeks should be against Edmonton, Saskatchewan,
Yeah,
Calgary,
but
Winnipeg.
in my mind, and I hate to give you guys a preview of this yet, I think BC and Calgary are going to be fighting for first place in the West, and the Bombers and Edmonton were going to be fighting for last place in the West. Okay, so it's not a big deal.
Think the Bombers are going to be that bad this year?
Yep.
I can't do that.
Well,
I can't
but
pick a team that's been dominant for 5 years
yeah, but you were
and
the one
has
who
really
said
showed
last year,
no letting up and think that they're going to tank this year.
You were the one last
can't
year,
do it.
and you said it again the other night. They're getting long in the tooth, man.
100% they are. 100%. But, you know, somebody on I told you about that thing on where was it? Winnipeg what is that armchair group called? Just so that people can go and look at it.
CFL
it's
chatter.
Winnipeg Jets and Bombers armchair coaches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And the post was, where was it? Some guy. I'm going to find it. Jared posted it. Gone that far down? Couldn't have. Some guy posted the rankings for this year. And oh, here they are. guy named Patrick Hastings. Early look at the standings in the offseason. The West, he's got West. Number 1 is BC. Number 2 is Winnipeg. Number 3 is Edmonton. Number 4 is Calgary. Number 5 is Saskatchewan. And in the East, it's Montreal, Ottawa, Toronto, and Hamilton.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to say a couple things here, though, about this guy. First of all, Patrick Hastings is a massive Lions homer. I've known him. I've seen him online before. Point 2 with that guy, he's an idiot. But other than that, we'll go with that.
Don't hold anything back,
Charles. You're not usually that straightforward.
Yeah, I've seen this guy before. I've kicked him out of groups. He goes off on these weird tangents. I think just to piss people off. Who else do we know that does that? But he does it to the extreme, and the guy he's a troll. Straight up.
It's fine, and that's cool. I don't have a problem with that. Charles, I'm not going to talk to Will right now. I want to talk to you. Do you have a problem with the rankings in the West?
No. Actually, what he put there actually isn't all that bad. I'm not saying they're bad. I was just pointing out you got to take it from the source. But the rankings there in the West I don't think are terrible. I don't think his rankings at all are terrible.
BC, Winnipeg, Edmonton, Calgary, Saskatchewan. This is exactly what I picked last year, except I had BC and Winnipeg flip because I cannot, in all good consciousness, put BC ahead of Winnipeg when Winnipeg has just gone to 5 straight Grey Cups and they haven't showed any signs of failing. So I can't take Winnipeg out of first place. Okay, but I do think BC is the most improved team, and I don't have a problem with them being in this. I wouldn't put them in first place, but because he put them in there, I'm not going to argue. Okay. Winnipeg is second. Edmonton, you know what? Last year, I would have thought Edmonton would have been in third place. This year, Trey Ford and Cody Fajardo, I'm a little challenged with them being in third place. But Calgary, Saskatchewan, Edmonton, they're going to fight for the third place. And I know Will thinks that Calgary's going to be challenging for first place, and good for them if they are. Okay? Calgary needs a good rebound season. They really do. Missed the playoffs for the first time in 20 years. But I don't see it. I don't think they've done enough to do it. There was no core. In the East, how do you put Ottawa in second place? How?
They made some nice moves there. They were in third. Oh.
Yeah, Hamilton missed the playoffs. Okay, granted they did. But Bo Levi had an MOP season. He's now got some amazing receivers, including Kenny Lawler. I can't see Hamilton being the bottom of the Eastern Division.
I don't think so either.
I have to put Ottawa there. Montreal's got a totally unproven quarterback in Davis Alexander. I like him, but come on, let's be fair. I mean, you've given him the reins after what? 5 games that he was undefeated while Cody was hurt. So,
and it's one thing too to come in as a backup. It's another thing entirely when they say, okay, you're the starter, it's your team. Completely different situations.
Of course it is, but every defensive coordinator now has film on him.
That's exactly why.
Okay. And it's easy to get beat by him when he's never played. Now that he's played and they've got some film on him and they're taking a look at him and then they can find his weaknesses and whether or not he can read defenses and all sorts of things. I mean, he's a young quarterback and he shows great promise. Yes, but we've seen 50 of them in the last 10 years or more.
Yes, we have.
So anyhow, I just thought it was really funny. We were talking about something and I took a left turn there. Sorry, guys. Okay, that was the oh yeah, we're talking about the schedule and how much it sucks. That was honestly the first time I've looked at the schedule. It really wasn't important to me, and now I think it's stupid. Saskatchewan Roughriders hire Andrew Harris, Ryan Dinwiddie going to the NFL, the salary cap increase. Okay, what do we got next to talk about? Free agency.
Mhm.
And we talked about free agency and how the commissioner has messed it up two ways: by creating this new tamper window, and B, by increasing the salary cap midway through it. But let's talk about each team and their pros and cons, their additions and subtractions, and who they got left to play with on each team. Okay. And that's what we got. Do you guys have this article up? 3 Down
Yep.
Nation?
Yep.
Mhm.
Okay. So right off the bat, we got BC at the top. I'm looking at some really interesting additions here. Most notably would be James Butler, Mika Aw, David Foucault, Adam Konar coming back. That's kind of an interesting signing. And Jeremiah Mazzoli as the backup quarterback to Nathan Rourke. Those are pretty good signings. I'm kind of excited about that. Deontay Williams. Okay, we lost.
That's a good pickup too.
Yeah, I think they've done well on their pickups.
Wait till you guys get a load of Rice and John. Okay,
He's massive.
he's
Ooh.
massive.
Rice and
Cannot run
John. Is he even? Yeah, he's on here.
cannot run a pattern, cannot catch a ball, is about as useless as they come. Just saying, sorry.
He's 6'7".
He's 6'7", yeah. He's got a body that won't quit, but like he's horrible.
But he had something like 4 catches last year.
Yeah.
Out of 48 targets.
Yeah. So I'm thinking special teams.
Okay. So Charles, you're looking at this. Who did we lose that what is hurtful? We lost Bola Combo, but he retired.
The first when he retired, it jumps out. I was kind of hoping that they were going to bring William Stam back because he did have a good year last year, but he is getting a little bit long in the tooth, and they replaced him with James Butler, who's younger. I always liked Manny Rugamba.
I don't like that trade. I don't like that trade. No.
Okay.
I like a power back straight up the middle. I don't like a little scat back.
Fair enough.
You need an O-line for that.
Alex Hollins, he had some good flashes, but he had a really tough year last year. He was injured, and even when he wasn't injured, he had trouble catching the ball. Deontay Evans, another guy who I think is starting to get a little bit older. So I don't think there's massive. Pete Robertson, the good defensive lineman when he was healthy.
Yeah.
And I liked Ryder Varga. But, I mean, there's nothing that really jumps out that I think is a crucial loss. They did announce yesterday that they're moving away from TJ Lee. They're not bringing him back. Also, Suk Chung, and they're not bringing back.
Correct.
Yep.
We also have David Mackey is not signed, and I think that's a bit of a mistake.
Him. Yeah, he's a guy.
We need a good fullback.
Yeah, he's a guy I hope they can sign because he is a good very good fullback, and he was really good last year on short yardage plays.
He was our quarterback on short yardage.
Exactly. Yeah, and he was pretty much automatic. I can't remember many times that he actually got stopped on short yardage.
So what do they call that? That's a wildcat play, is correct?
Yes.
And I haven't seen anybody else do that. Okay, so Calgary Stampeders.
Wait. You haven't let me talk about fucking BC yet. Hold on.
I'm sorry, William. I'm sorry. My apologies. Go ahead.
Okay, so the only thing I can observe from BC, and understand when we talk about teams losing guys and gaining guys, they make changes because they didn't win last year, right? So
Correct.
it means they were not good enough. Pretty simple. Okay,
Yes.
but I'm looking at BC, and they got rid of 3 D-backs, starting D-backs, I would assume. Deontay Evans was a starter, was he not?
Yes.
TJ Lee was
Adrian
TJ
Green.
Lee was a starter, and so was Adrian
Yep.
Green. And they only signed 1 D-back, so they must have people in the wings or rookies or free agents or something coming in. Is all I.
You got to
That's
realize that TJ Lee missed a good chunk of the season last year with an
Yep.
Achilles.
right.
Okay, and he didn't come back and play amazing.
No,
And
and he
he's
was getting long in the tooth. for
he
sure.
was. He's getting
Yes, he
old.
was.
And
He's been with the Lions for 11 years.
yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
and you guys,
I'm very
guys-
I'm sorry to see him go, but I'm not disappointed.
No.
right.
Right? I mean, it's just one of those things that if I could have TJ Lee 10 years younger, I would keep him.
Yeah, well,
We
you
can't.
probably have Mike Riley as your quarterback then too.
Oh,
Anyways.
fucking A. Fucking A, I would.
Okay, let's go to Calgary. Go ahead.
I disagree with what they've done here, simply because they've added Vernon Adams Jr.
That
And
was a trade.
that was a trade. It had nothing to do with free agency, and they didn't put it as a subtraction for the Lions.
That's true too.
Yep.
Okay, so it's not really a free agent's addition.
No,
So Vernon Adams, we can't talk about, although he is an
Yes,
amazing
we can.
upgrade over
Right.
Jake Mayer. Okay, Will wants
Really?
to talk
You
about him.
think?
You want to talk about him?
Really? No,
You know
no,
what?
I don't because hold on, and I was the first guy who said last year, even when Vernon Adams was lighting it up at the beginning of the year, he has not taken that next step where he can continue in the playoffs, and I'll still stick
Fair.
with that.
Okay, and I agree with you. But I would like to say that he has never been on a team that is competitive enough to go the distance in the playoffs. If he had stayed healthy last year in BC,
And if
we
they
don't
had
know
had
what
a
would have
decent,
happened,
and if they had a real head coach who wasn't
right?
an idiot, right? But he
I mean,
still has not proven it.
Okay,
I still
if Vernon Adams had stayed healthy last year, okay, Nathan Rourke would not have seen the field.
I would assume that, yeah.
wonder that if Adams hadn't got hurt, would the Lions have even signed Nathan Rourke?
Yes.
You think so?
Well, because they
Yes.
didn't want to, they wouldn't want to
No.
give him to somebody else.
Fair enough.
Just saying.
I mean, if you had a choice on what you know, Charles, of these two quarterbacks, which one would you take?
I'd probably go with Nathan Rourke.
Yes. Anybody who says otherwise is just delusional.
Because at the two quarterbacks at their best, Nathan Rourke's best is better than Vernon Adams' best.
Yeah.
Nathan Rourke was setting records week after week after week.
Yeah. Okay, so William, you're the Calgary Stampeder
Yes.
fan. You go ahead
Yes.
and you do us your ins and outs on the Calgary Stampeders.
Okay,
Who did you
well,
gain that you liked? Who do you lose that you wanted?
Of course, one of the things that I said last year that I continue to say is Calgary, and this is in spite of you guys saying the opposite, just so we remember, Calgary now has a quarterback. Okay?
They do.
Pretty obvious. They have a quarterback. Just Run Antwi. I have no idea who the heck that is. I don't care.
He
He's a
came
running
over
back.
from BC. Hang on,
He's
the
William, I'll
backup
tell
last
you who
year.
he is. He was the backup running back to William Stanback in Montreal. And when Stanback got injured, he was the one that came in and lit it up for the Alouettes. Okay?
Yes.
And then
Until
when
he
Stanback
got
came
hurt.
to BC, they brought him in here as well.
Yes.
BC had both of them last year.
Yeah.
Right.
He did not play much.
Miles Brown, defensive lineman. They need defensive linemen because they lost a whole bunch. Adrian Green, I don't know. All I know is I think he not. I think he ran a pick six back against Calgary last year when they played BC, to be honest with you. Tevon Jones, he's a receiver. Derek Moncrief, he was great when he played for Chris Jones in Saskatchewan. Okay. He's getting a little long in the tooth.
Wasn't he in Edmonton with Chris Jones before that?
Well, last year he was. Yes, he was.
I think he was there the first time.
Yeah, Godfrey Anyaka, he's been around forever, has he not?
Yeah.
Who cares?
Yes.
Once again, Florian Armalata, he shouldn't be on this list either because he was also a trade.
Okay.
And they traded their best defensive player for him. Dominique Grimes, I don't know. Him and Vernon Adams have a good combination together. Fraser Sopik. They didn't do anything to overly impress me, to be honest with you. But I guess I'm going to have to live with it. I'm disappointed we lost Mika Aw because he did play well in Calgary. But he's also a whore because he's been in BC 4 times now, hasn't he? So he obviously goes for the money wherever it happens to be. Cody Grace, very disappointed we lost him because he's a great punter. Demario Houston, well, you guys heard the story behind him. Nothing we can do about that. Cameron Judge, well, why is he? I guess these are just subtractions. They're not free agents. Cameron Judge is the defensive player they traded to Toronto for Formulati. Trey Odoms Dukes, they didn't play him much at all. Mike Rose, I still have no idea why they got rid of him, but I think he was due a bonus.
You missed Jake Mayer, Peyton Logan.
He was in a bonus, due for a bonus in January. Matthew Schlitz, who cares? Tommy Stevens, he's like a poor man's Strevler, to be honest with you. And James Waters, he did not live up to the hype when they brought him here 2 years ago. And Kobe Williams, I have no idea who that is. They have some guys that are unsigned. I hope they sign some of them, but I doubt it if they will, to be honest with you.
Robertson?
No, he's signed in Ottawa. He's getting,
Okay.
he's
Yep.
he's your TJ Lee. He's getting a little long in the tooth.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, so I don't think they lost great guys, and I don't think they gained great guys. So, and if you just talk strictly free agency, I mean, the biggest difference for them this year will be they've got some receivers and they've got Vernon Adams Jr. So the Vag is in Calgary.
So last year the Calgary Stampeders had 4 quarterbacks under contract.
Yeah.
They're all 4 of them are gone.
Yep. That's usually what happens when you're the last place team in the CFL.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you won 5 games.
Won 5 games.
5 games.
Okay. Edmonton Elks. They made some big acquisitions. Terrell Ford is coming to play with his little brother, the quarterback, Trey Ford. Cody Fajardo, the big high-end quarterback out of Montreal. He's now an Edmonton Elk. Jake Serezna.
And you know what's disappointing about that? I was praying to God BC was going to sign him.
I can't hear you. Very quiet.
Yeah, you muted
I
there.
was praying to God BC was going to sign him.
No fucking way.
Who?
Cody Fajardo.
No, we weren't interested.
Go ahead.
We did sign Jeremiah Mazzoli
I'll take him over Fajardo.
any day. Okay. So
Fajardo's got a Grey Cup. Sorry.
Ragumba, Kobe Williams. They got some interesting additions, but big deal. I don't think they really lost anybody of substance. Herge Mayala, Derek Moncrief they lost. Lucius Purifoy, they didn't sign him. They did nobody re-signed him. DeMarcus Christmas. And still unsigned AC Leonard. Talk about somebody that's getting a little long in the hood.
Yeah.
Hunter Stewart. Okay. Saskatchewan. They took 2 quarterbacks from Calgary. Okay, now
Major pickup.
I'll hang on for a second. Calgary was the worst team in the CFL last year. They were at the bottom. Okay. They ditched their quarterback room completely. Saskatchewan picked it up. Now,
There's a
how
recipe
can
for
anybody
success.
be telling me that Saskatchewan is going to be challenging for first place when they got Calgary's cast-offs?
You know what is funny, because I think the reason they picked those guys up is because Mace is familiar with them.
It could
And
be.
and he probably thinks they're good players if they plug them into his system. I guess. I don't know.
I don't understand how you can throw Shea Patterson away and pick up Jake Mayer.
Don't forget that, what's his name? Saskatchewan's offensive coordinator right now was probably a decision maker in making Jake Mayer the starter in Calgary when he was here. So that's probably
So
why
why
he
would you
grabbed.
listen to him now?
Yeah.
Well, I guess because they're professional coaches and they don't listen to us because we don't know shit as far as they're concerned.
But aren't they supposed to watch film?
Yeah, but any, you know what? You could take a non-football fan and put them in front of a Jake Mayer football game, and you can tell he sucks.
Yes.
Okay, so why would anybody sign him?
This was my question. Why would you get rid of Shea Patterson, who is a young and upcoming
And I did like
quarterback
him.
with talent, who may or may not turn out? We don't know. But we know that Jake Mayer is not going to blossom into anything wonderful. So they've got Tommy Stevens, they got Jake Mayer, and they got Trevor Harris. Out of those quarterbacks, what's going to happen? Trevor Harris is going to get hurt. Jake Mayer is going to become the starter. And Saskatchewan's not going to win another game.
Yeah, but they do have two really good running backs in Saskatchewan. So they'll run the ball a lot.
They're going to need them.
Yeah. Because they got Olet or whatever, the Omelet Boy.
AJ Olet.
AJ Olet.
Yeah, they got Omelet Boy, and then they got that Armstead guy who got kicked out of Ottawa last year. Remember that guy who ran really, really hard?
Yeah, but he was a shithead in the locker room.
Yes, he was. He had 200, and yes, I'm going to say this out loud. He had 206 yards against Calgary last year. Yeah. Okay. In one game.
He burned them.
Yes, he did.
Badly. And now he's in Saskatchewan.
Yes, he is. Once again, it's people that are familiar with The coaches, that's what they've got there. I mean, Mike Rose, I still don't know why Calgary got rid of Mike Rose, but I guess they wanted a change. And Tommy Stevens is great as a third down quarterback.
All he has to do is
He's a
fall
good
forward.
short yardage guy.
Yeah.
What is he, 7'10" or something?
He's
big,
6'7" or something like that. He's 245 pounds.
It just fall forward.
Yeah. And he's fast.
I noticed
He's fast.
I noticed that they haven't signed Colton Hunchuk.
Well,
he signed somewhere else,
they
didn't
have
he?
not. Huh?
I thought he signed somewhere else.
No, he signed in Saskatchewan last year.
Yeah. Oh,
But
last
no.
year. Okay.
Yeah,
He's,
and now he's an unsigned free agent.
yeah, and I don't know if he'll sign anywhere. Hard to say. I haven't talked to his dad recently because dad's in Mexico. So, but I am sitting next to my buddy Todd Hunchuk at football games this year. So, an offensive lineman, Ryan Gevrier or whatever, somebody needs to sign him. He's a good old lineman. Moving on.
Okay, moving on. I
Bombers.
don't think Saskatchewan improved enough. Okay.
No, I don't think they did either.
If anything, they may have taken a step backwards, and they were fortunate to get into the playoffs last year only because Calgary shit the bed, Edmonton didn't perform the way they should have, and BC had a brain fart midway through the season.
Yep.
And otherwise, Saskatchewan shouldn't have been there at all. And oh my God, who knows? And yes, I don't hate Saskatchewan. Yes, I do, but that's not the point. The point is they just were not a good team last year, and I don't think they got better. We're on to the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. They brought in Shea Patterson, the quarterback from Saskatchewan.
Which I like is a good move.
They brought in kick returner, running back Peyton Logan.
He's awesome.
That he was with the Stampeders last year, I believe.
I'm surprised Calgary didn't re-sign him.
I know. And nobody else is really jumps off the page to me. They lost Terrell Ford. They lost Kenny Lawler. They axed Drew
Wolotarski.
And this Ontario Williams, who was just like amazing last year.
He was good last year.
Yeah, he was.
And they lost him. Still unsigned. Well, they released Adam Bighill. Johnny Augustine surprises me.
I'm surprised someone hasn't picked him up.
I'm surprised Winnipeg's letting him go with Brady Oliveira being a Canadian running back. You need a Canadian backup.
Yeah, but let's face it. He has not done anything since he's been in the CFL because he's never had an opportunity, number one.
Right.
But he just hasn't looked that good when he has gotten in as well. So I wouldn't have signed him. And oh my Lord, they didn't re-sign Lucky Whitehead. Surprise, surprise. Or Adam Bighill.
I think his Lucky Whitehead's days are numbered.
Yeah.
What, numbered at 0?
Pretty much, yeah.
You know,
sadly, it might be the same thing for Adam Bighill too. Sadly,
you know, the one thing you got to look at too with Winnipeg is they got rid of all these receivers, and they did sign Dalton Schoen. But is Dalton Schoen going to be as effective when he doesn't have all these big guns around him? Like
Dalton
Kenny Lawler
didn't play last season at all.
Right, he was hurt.
He was hurt the entire season. And who says that he's going to come back and be amazing?
Well, that's true. That's true.
So I'm really kind of concerned about. I don't see improvement by the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
Nope.
I mean, you got rid of Ontario Wilson and you brought in Reggie White. You lost Drew Wokolski and Kenny Lawler. Their receiving core got gutted.
Yeah, it did.
It did.
Okay. Adam Bighill, I'm sure, is going to sign with Saskatchewan because kind
You
of like
think so?
Saskatchewan picks up all the aging superstars.
Well, no, and they are a cup contender this year. So, and Adam's been to the cup 5 times, so makes sense to me.
I mean, Joe Figueroa is still unsigned. David Menard, Steve Dunbar Jr. See, that's another receiver they haven't signed.
This is Hamilton. You're looking at Hamilton.
Oh,
man.
I'm sorry. Sorry, my bad. I've moved on. I've moved on. Da, da, da.
Let's talk about Hamilton.
We are right now.
I kind of like what
Deshaun
they've done.
Amos.
Deshaun Amos.
Kenny Lawler, Drew Wokolski. I mean, let's face it. Bo Levi Mitchell just picked up a couple amazing receivers.
He definitely
Reggie
did.
Stubblefield, and even on defense, okay, Reggie Stubblefield and Deshaun Amos. Deshaun Amos was starting cornerback for Toronto last year.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Now they lost David Beard. They lost James Butler. They didn't pick up a running back. Hamilton got better, but they did lose a couple of interesting components. And yes, running backs are a dime a dozen, but we do need them. You know, one thing that I'm just noticing right now is all of us are looking to the left, which is really to the right.
Mm-hmm.
And when we're doing a visual podcast like this, we kind of should have a teleprompter above our screen here or something like that, so that we're not focused over here and you're looking in our ear. All 3 of us were doing the same thing at the same time.
Yeah.
Of course we were.
Okay. Now, everybody out there, this is our first podcast on doing this visually. You have never seen us before. And we're just kind of making this shit up as we go along. And we are going to do things to improve. And the only way that we can improve is to notice things. And I just noticed that we're all looking off the page and not at the people. So we probably need to do something about that and move things around so that we can stay straight ahead. Just sharing. Just sharing.
I agree.
I honestly don't need to look at you guys. I could put something in front of this computer screen here. I could put this here and you wouldn't know that it's there. Okay. Yeah, I could do that. Put it right on my keyboard.
My issue is I've got, I'm looking, my camera is is built into my laptop, but I've got a bigger screen plugged into my laptop. So I'm reading off of the bigger screen, which is next to the laptop.
Yeah, see, I could probably put another screen onto my laptop here and move Teams up there so that, you know, I can see what you guys are doing, even though I'm paying attention to what's going on the laptop. And that's probably what I'll do is I'll get a secondary monitor for this. Okay. I am in a temporary studio right now, and I'm building a new one. And but hopefully I will be in there by mid-season. So we'll see what happens. Okay, continuing with Hamilton. Still unsigned is Steve Dunbar Jr., Joe Figueroa, Richard Leonard, Enoch McConzo. Who's that? David Menard. Yeah, okay. Not jumping up and down about that. Toronto Argonauts. We're still in the East tier. They added DeMarcus Christmas, Ciante Evans, Cameron Judge, Anthony Lanier, Hergy Mayola, Donald Rutland, William Sutherland, and Ryder Vargas. They might have got better.
Yeah, they made
they were the the Grey Cup champions last year. So
They were the Grey Cup champions. Now the list of people they lost is huge. And
Jake
the
Ceresna
guys
is a
that,
bad loss.
what's that?
Jake Ceresna is a bad loss.
Yeah.
So
Florian
is
or Malad,
so is Royce
whatever the
Mechie.
fuck his name is. Yeah. Okay.
they lost
I,
Tunde Adeleke as well.
Another bad loss.
That's a big loss. Deshaun Amos, another bad loss. And there was another, I think Jonathan or Royce Menchie, another bad loss.
Mm-hmm.
Their whole defensive backfield, more or less. So
so they got better on offense and they got harder on defense. And their defense was probably one of the better ones in the league. And that
yeah,
kept them in the games more than anything. So if they just lost their defense, they still have fuck nuts for a quarterback. So I'm not holding a
yeah,
lot of
but
breath
they,
for Argos.
as far as their defense go, they also they traded for Cameron Judge. So now you get Cameron Judge and Wynton McManus as linebackers on the same defense. They're going to be scary.
Yep.
Why don't they just sign Adam Bighill?
Because Adam's a
Never know.
little
Maybe they will.
long in the tooth. He's been long in the tooth for 3 years. So
Yeah, he has, but he's still probably better than a lot of them in the league.
could be,
Yep.
yeah.
Okay, jumping over to the Ottawa Red Blacks. Tunde Adeleke, Peter Godberg, Eugene Lewis, Jeremy Murphy, Matthew Schlitz, William Stanback. They picked up some names.
They've got
Yep.
better.
They got better. They lost Dominic Rhymes.
Don't forget they still have Drew Brown and Dustin Crum as quarterbacks. So that's a pretty decent.
They've got depth.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
They do.
Yeah. They lost Jeremiah Mazzoli. They lost Dominic Rhymes. They lost Jalen Acklin.
Yeah, he retired.
Yeah. And I don't see anybody notable that they haven't signed yet. Jumping over to our last one, which is Montreal Alouettes. They added Josh Archibald, McLeod Bethel Thompson. I think that was a good signing. The law office going to help Davis Alexander along.
It's good to
Good
have an
mentor.
experienced quarterback.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was either him, and it was either him or, of course, Danny Machosho didn't want Cody Fajardo anymore, or couldn't get him cheap enough, I guess.
You can get him cheap enough. Yeah, they Philip Gagnon they lost Reggie White Jr., Derek Wigan.
You know,
I
was gonna mention, isn't it amazing that the shit we talk constantly about Cody Fajardo, and he is only 1 year out of being the starting quarterback to win the Grey Cup, and they didn't even hesitate getting rid of him. What does that tell you? What does that tell you? Wow.
Well, I got a better one for you. That's 1 year out. Do you remember back? Kerry Joseph won the Grey Cup for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, and they punted him out the door 2 weeks after the Grey Cup parade was over in Regina. Punted him out the door for Darian Durant.
Yes, they did.
He had just won them a Grey Cup.
Yeah. And they did not renew his
See
contract.
ya.
Bye-bye now.
Yeah. Wouldn't want to be ya.
No. Montreal has unsigned Nate Bahar and quarterback Dominic Davis.
That's funny.
It is funny. So there's free agency in a nutshell. Who's the
Yeah,
big winner? Who's the big loser?
you'll never know.
We don't know. I think Toronto's offense got better. I think their defense got weaker. I think Montreal's offense got a little bit better. A little bit. Ottawa seems to be a little bit better.
Ottawa got better.
Ottawa got
And
better.
I think Edmonton's better.
I think Calgary's better. I don't think Saskatchewan got better.
No, I don't either.
Hamilton's offense got better. I can't say the same about their defense.
Okay, I have a news update for you guys.
Okay, what is it?
I just Googled somebody. Now
Uh-oh.
30, Jonathan Jennings is now officially retired from professional football. He lives in Westerville, Ohio, a suburb of Columbus, located 20 kilometers northeast of the city's downtown area. He coaches the quarterbacks at a local Division III program at Otterbein University and works in real estate. Such a promising career gone down the tube at
He
30
did have a very promising career.
for about a year and a half. Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. Just saying. I wasn't trying to rub it in or anything, but I was. So,
Well, you're not rubbing it in. I mean, he shit the bed.
well, no. And the reason that brought it up was, remember, him and Dominic Davis got signed in Ottawa as the quarterback saviors for Ottawa about 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah, that was their big signings.
That's right.
Yeah, it didn't
That's
go
right.
well
They
for
were
them.
horrible. I think they even brought Drew Tate in a couple of months out into the season to finish the season because they were both so horrible.
Didn't they pull him out of retirement?
I think they did. Yes.
I'm pretty sure they did.
I remember that. So, anyways.
Yeah. Anyhow, that's free agency. It's over. There's still going to be the odd signing here, there, and everywhere. Yep. But I think the majority of it is done. I mean, there's really, if you're looking at the unsigned for each team, there's nobody just jumping off the page that says, oh my God, why hasn't this guy signed yet?
And we've seen in past years too that if you don't sign in like the first 2 days, you're probably looking at training camp tryouts at that point. Because most of the teams have spent their money.
I was hoping that Sean McEwen, from Calgary last year, he was their center, was going to sign with Calgary, but he signed with Saskatchewan, that piece of shit. Anyways, he was in Toronto for 4 years, and then he came to Calgary. He was a Calgary native, and he's only been here for 2 years, and they didn't re-sign him because I guess he didn't like the organization or something. I don't know. So where did he go? He went to Saskatchewan with his old buddy Corey Mace and the offensive coordinator, Lancaster's grandson.
Right. So if the Calgary Stampeders are such a shit organization that you have to go to Saskatchewan to get a better organization, that does not bode well at all for the Calgary team.
Nope.
Not when you're stepping up into the Rough Riders.
Yep. We shall see. That's why they play the season.
That's why they play the games.
Yes, they do.
And we're definitely going to do that. Okay.
We'll hope.
Yeah, hope. Okay. Is there anything else you guys would like to touch on? Any news stories?
We're at an hour and 53 minutes.
No, 57. We're not. No, that's how long that Will and I have been talking before Charles showed up.
Correct, but I've been
So that
there
was
for
at
an hour and
least 20 minutes off of that. So we're about an hour and a half.
Yeah, so these could run very long if we keep going with some of these things, because I'm actually enjoying myself doing this, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah, but we have to have something to talk about, and that's
yes,
what we're going to do. Oh, what is this? Miles Brown is now going to Calgary.
who?
Did we talk about that?
Who's Miles Brown?
I
A
don't
defensive
remember that.
lineman for Saskatchewan last year.
Yeah, okay.
Demarius Houston has been released by the Calgary Stampeders. Now, this is a very important thing that I would like to touch with. Calgary Stampeders has time and time and time again proved that they are a classy organization by immediately releasing any player that has done something contrary to their code of conduct. Now, this gentleman has been charged with domestic violence in his home state, and Calgary Stampeders released him. Yeah, it's a couple of days after it happened, but so what? They did what they were supposed to do. Contrary to some other teams in the league, like Toronto Argonauts.
Not remain to be mentioned.
Yeah, I'm not going to mention any names, Toronto Argonauts.
Yeah.
And keeping pawn scums on the roster, regardless of what position they are. So kudos to the Calgary Stampeders for releasing this gentleman who goes against the violence against women policy of the CFL. They didn't suspend him for 9 games or 6 games or 12 games or indefinitely for gambling. They just said, fuck you, you're gone, boom, out of here. And so it does open up the door for other CFL teams like the Toronto Argonauts to sign him, because they don't seem to have any morals or ethics or anything else when it comes to this and dealing with oh, never mind. I'm just not even going to go there anymore. I'm tired of it. I'm just tired of it. Will, stop making these faces and clappy hands and shit, okay? This is fucking...
Why? We
It's
have
not
that ability.
kindergarten. You can't be doing this shit. Okay. So that's the end of that. So this guy is toast, and he was actually a really good DB, and it doesn't matter how good a player he is. If he does dumbass shit, he should be gone. And kudos to the Stampeders. Okay. Now, what else have we got in here? Chris Strevler.
What a
Who are
waste
you
of
gonna?
money.
What's that?
What a waste of money.
Yeah, yeah. Who's the other guy in Winnipeg? Who's their backup?
Well, they just signed Shea Patterson.
Yeah,
That's right. Shea Patterson, Chris Strevler, and Zach Caleros. So if
and
Zach Caleros goes down,
apparently they have another young guy in the wings that they think will be the eventual next one.
good for them, right? Until he's showed his medal, then it doesn't matter. I personally like Shea Patterson. For the team that he was on Saskatchewan last year. He stepped in quite nicely for Trevor Harris, and the Riders weren't a good team.
No, they were
They
not.
just happened to be better than the rest of the garbage out there last year. Charles, are you okay?
Yeah, sorry, I was just looking at something.
Yeah, looking for God.
We noticed that.
Okay, what else have we got?
We can't
Bob
do the
Irving
things we
has
used to do anymore.
What's that?
We can't do the things we used to do on our podcast anymore.
No, we can't. We cannot. I can't be munching on candies and stuff, right?
Nope. I can't be sleeping either.
No snoring from Will.
Nope.
Okay, I'm pretty much done I'm going back through the Let's Talk CFL posts here, and there's really not much else going on in here. There's a bunch of signings here. Will, we can't see the happy Thanksgiving. It's sideways.
I can.
I wasn't
Yeah,
showing
you
Well,
that.
he's part of it.
I just wanted to show you my head.
He's a pumpkin head.
Oh, he's a BC Lion fan?
There you go. There you go. Actually, no. Guess what? Guess what? I'm a Stamp fan.
Oh God.
Well,
Yeah, fam.
isn't there a name for that?
I don't know.
Cameron Dukes.
Loser?
Cameron Dukes resigns in Toronto.
Yep.
Yes, he did.
Good for him. And they
Did
also
Arbuckle-
re-signed Kadeem Carey.
Yes,
Yeah.
they did.
Did Arbuckle sign in Toronto too? Nick Arbuckle.
Yes, he did.
Yes, he did.
signed that. That's what I thought. I would hope so. He won him a Grey Cup.
Well, in case what's his name shits the bed this year because the Grey Cup probably went to his head last year. So
Well, he didn't play in the Grey Cup. He didn't even go to the game. He didn't even go to the game and support his team.
oh, sorry, refresh my memory. What happened? Oh, that's right. He was hurt.
He was hurt.
Yeah.
And then they said, oh, the doctor wouldn't let him fly because he had
Baloney.
a sore knee.
No. He broke his leg. He had a cast on his leg.
He had a cast on his leg. Get in
And-
the fucking airplane.
No. Hold on. Let's be honest here. I broke my leg 9 years ago, and I was supposed to go to BC 3 days later to go to my niece's basketball game in Abbotsford. And my doctor told me that I should not fly because of the pressure it puts on your leg, and there's no place for your leg to go when you have a hard cast on. Just saying.
That's true.
Just saying.
It
So-
was a chartered flight.
So, still
He
got to
could have
fly
had
in the
his
air.
own 3 feet. No,
Yeah, but
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
but no female trainers will work with him anymore. Remember?
Yes, I know that. I know
Okay,
that.
just saying.
Yeah. It's just actually, from what I understand, he's now engaged. He's supposed to get married this off season, and he's a new man, and he's being well behaved and everything else, or so I'm being told
We'll
by
see.
every
Sure.
Argo fan out there.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
sure.
We'll see.
He hasn't grown up before. What? How old is he now? He's got to be close to 30.
Oh, if not over 30, isn't he?
I don't know.
Yeah. 'cause
Let's look
he-
him up. What do we call him? Dum Dum? Let's look Dum
Yeah.
Dum.
That wouldn't be
put-
there though.
Yeah, it's got his picture. He's going to be 31 next month.
Yeah.
And he's still got a bad haircut.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but he even looks like a jerk.
He looks like that Trevis guy from
Yeah. You said that.
from the Harry Potter thing. Magical beasts and creatures, magical beasts and creatures, or whatever. I don't know. Do you know what the name of that show was?
No, what is actually is the
Fantastic
quarterback's name?
Beast.
Fantastic Beasts and Magical Creatures, or
Yep. Something like that.
Yeah. So
Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. That what it was called? Yeah.
something like that.
Okay. Now, what were you going to say there, Charles? You had something? No?
I don't remember.
Yeah, a big void there. Willie,
Yeah,
you got anything else to say?
Well, yeah, he looks like he's got a pole up his ass, okay? Like he looks really uptight, that guy.
Yeah.
So, just saying. But yeah, let's move on from him.
Let's
We
move
can.
on from him. Okay, so are we going to call this a show and say that this first episode was a success? Or do you
I
want
guess
to
we
drag it out
can.
and get
Now-
bored?
I think so.
Now, have you figured out where to find it yet or not?
No, I do not know where to find it in my computer. And I
Okay.
can't ask the listeners right now where it is because they can't
They're
find
not
it to listen
listening.
to this.
They're not
They're
listening.
not listening.
Not listening live.
No, it's not. It's not live. Okay, so let's
You'll have
just
to ask
before I hit the
on
button that
online.
says stop recording. This has been Let's Talk CFL podcast episode number 595. I've been your host, Christopher Jones, Will McDonald, and Charles Cliff. Say goodnight, guys. William?
Good night, everybody. I want you guys to think about something very seriously and reply back to us. My question is, do I still have a face for radio and not video?
Yeah, probably. Charles. Oh, there he's got the. Say goodnight.
Good night, folks. And it's been an interesting experiment getting to this point, but now here we are on video. That could be a good thing, could be a bad thing. But it's good to be back.
And I can tell you already, we were more exciting than that 6-hour debacle the other day on YouTube. Guaranteed.
I didn't waste my time.
Oh, it was horrible.
You know what I think is really cool here is that Will has said good night, and he's still here. He
normally hangs up right away.
Willie hangs up right away, and he's still sticking around.
That note,
he's going to disappear here now. There he goes.
There he goes.
Yep.